Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Sandra Kumorowski, and I am a marketing strategist and a professor at Columbia College, Chicago. I'm also a PhD student at Charles University, Faculty of Social Sciences, studying media and communications. Welcome to ZLIN Design Week. I am also a runner. I love to run. And I love to bake, which is a family tradition that goes back several generations.
Where do you feel more at home, in Chicago or Kromnarish?
As you already know, I am originally from the Czech Republic, where I grew up and lived for the first 19 years of my life. Then I moved to Chicago. So I've been in Chicago longer than I've been in my hometown. But when I go back to the Czech Republic and when I go back to Kroměříž, there's this special feelings that only a homeland can evoke. And it's the smell, it's the air, it's the atmosphere that is very unique, and it's related to your birthplace. I made Chicago, or United States of America, my home for the last 26 years, and I feel happy and comfortable here, but there's nothing like home.
What does your normal day look like?
My normal day before the pandemic would be usually teaching classes at Columbia College Chicago, attending meetings, doing research, writing, meeting colleagues and friends in the afternoon and in the evening, and just preparing for different events or different projects. What is it now? It's a little bit different because of the pandemic and because of the fact that we do spend more time at home. Interestingly for me, I welcome this change because I finally have time to focus on research, which is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Thus, starting a PhD program during a pandemic, I felt was a good decision.
What is your work ethic?
I really like to keep a very structured schedule, and it is even more so important now during the pandemic, where I not only have to manage my schedule, but I also have to manage a schedule of my son, who is in the second grade, who he's currently on an online learning schedule. So calendar is my best friend. I also carry a notebook with me. This habit really started about 15 years ago, so I always like to write everything, and I have actually a lot of them already, and just ready to look at just in case. I like to be on time as much as I can, and I'd like to really have a strict schedule when it comes to certain projects. It just helps me plan better.
What past cooperation you've had is your favorite? Why is it your favorite, and what did it teach you?
I've collaborated with a lot of different people, companies, teams from around the world. But my favorite collaborations include those that had creativity, openness, freedom of conversation, focus on the same goal, and it was with individuals who were willing to take the creative leap and explore the unknown, new topics and strategies. I believe that the best collaborations are marked by mutual trust and synthesis of ideas coming from different sources, areas, and most importantly, from different individuals. Just to mention a few examples, here in the United States, I have volunteered and worked on many projects for Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization focusing on helping individuals with paralysis. It was started by the former Hollywood actor Christopher Reeve when he got injured in a fall from a horse. And he started this foundation that is really trying to help individuals with paralysis with support services and with research. The CEO of the foundation, Peter Wilderwater, the board member Kelly Hannigan, Mira Seta, and many, many others from the foundation have been wonderful collaborators, and these are people that are dedicated to this amazing cause, and I will always value their partnerships and friendships. If we move across the ocean to Europe and specifically to the Czech Republic, I have had many great collaborations on projects with my current PhD supervisor, Dr. Antonia Doležalová, who is a faculty at Charles University, Faculty of Social Sciences. She's also a fellow at Cambridge University. A wonderful collaboration with Dr. Matteo Olivieri from University of Calabria, from Cosenza, Italy. He is an environmental economist. Great collaborations always with Dr. Evangelos Moustrakas, who is a professor at Middlesex University in Dubai. We've organized exchange projects every year together. With Dr. Mojmir Sabolovic, who is now a tenured faculty at University of Economics in Prague. So many great projects for the last 10 years. With Dr. Zdeněk Vrbka and his wife Monika Vrbková from former Masaryk University, the Department of IT, and South Moravian Innovation Center or Jihomoravské inovační centrum. All of these were always really fulfilling collaborations. And I keep coming back to these professionals for new collaborations because they've always been productive and actually fun.
In what way does history influence current marketing? And what is its legacy for the future?
History is really our blueprint, our guide. Sometimes it gives us this slap on the wrist if we were bad and did not learn any lessons from the past. Marketing is really common sense, and it has been part of our society since really the beginning. We see great marketing strategies in ancient civilizations such as ancient Egypt, where pharaohs ran effective political advertising campaigns using imagery and texts. History is really important because its legacy lies in inspiring our future. If we don't pay attention of what has happened to our civilization and to our world from the historical context, our decisions moving forward will not have the same objective take on where we're going next. So it is very, very important that we understand history in order that we respect it for what it gave us. It is really the foundation of evolution and of our modern life. The more we know about history, the better prepared we can be for the future. On top of it, history is full of so many examples that can be used for inspiration in current projects. Let me just give you an example of an artist, Frida Kahlo, who was a Mexican artist that inspired so many social movements, including feminism, women's rights, and also the fashion industry. Just recently, several fashion houses, including Dolce & Gabbana, were inspired by Frida Kahlo's aesthetics and her style to develop new collections. So history is this great source of inspiration.
Do you try to connect design with marketing within your pedagogical job? How?
I have always tried to explain to students how these two concepts, design and marketing, cannot really exist separately. It is really important to study marketing from the design perspective and study design from the marketing perspective. And it is this interdisciplinary lens that allows us to really analyze these complex disciplines, either individually and then working together. Moreover, my PhD research, which is really focused on intersection of marketing and art and design, is based on this interdisciplinary approach. If you think about it, successful visual communication campaigns always rely on design for impact and delivery. So these two always have to work together. I teach my students in my classes. I always bring these two disciplines together. We look at different examples, different theories from history, from present, and how we can advance these both disciplines into the future as one really complementing the other.
Do you see any new opportunities for cooperation that are here due to what's happening currently?
The pandemic has really transformed so many industries, and a lot of brands were challenged in terms of their brand longevity, in terms of their existence. But there were also brands and categories that showed great resilience and adaptability to the current situation and have been thriving. And I think there's always an opportunity in every crisis. And again, history is full of examples of how crisis can become the source of inspiration and rebirth and renewal of what could have been a pretty stale and old structure. So crises give brands and individuals an opportunity to change either dramatically or some elements of the operations for the better. And I think it is really the same for collaboration. The crisis really inspires new possibilities in terms of collaboration. And now when we're all online, I have been thinking about working with individuals around the globe much more than before, because obviously we're communicating through these online platforms and they give us access, global access to individuals and projects worldwide. We always had that opportunity, or we always had it before the pandemic, but it's even more obvious now when we are pretty much operating in an online environment.
How do you perceive cooperation? What benefits may arise from it and what are the risks of it?
As I mentioned before, effective cooperation or collaboration lies in the individual willingness to explore areas that have never been really explored before. And as I progress in my career, I now have more freedom to choose people that operate on the same wavelength that I do. And these are the people that you are instinctively drawn to. And you know when that moment happens, when you meet someone and you click. And you can tell that the relationship will thrive and will be mutually beneficial. That's when you know that the collaboration can be very productive moving into the future. It is not always possible to pick all of your team members, but simple basics like respect, enthusiasm, common or similar values and interests are the basic elements of a successful collaboration. What are the risks? The risks usually happen when different individuals on a team have different motivations or agendas that are not openly shared, and different personas are clashing within that team environment or within that collaboration, and that can bring on some problems. So it's really important to identify them and put them on the table right from the start, so the project can progress successfully. Thank you. It was wonderful again to participate in the second year of ZLIN Design Week. I hope that you have learned something interesting from all of these wonderful presentations. And I look forward to hopefully meeting you one day in person during another successful ZLIN Design Week. Thank you and have a wonderful day.